I asked the guys before the show earlier this week to just think of some of their favorite games for the NES. Gigi, you ready for one of your games?
Sure.
You've got 2 games. You set 2 games. You can talk on both of them. Which one you want to choose first?
Well, let me do Zelda first. I've got a lot of really fond memories with the NES across a great many of games. So I chose 2 that had the best story associated with them. Zelda 2, I got in 1988 when it was released. It was my first Hanukkah, because I wasn't married yet, so we didn't do the Christmaka yet. But that was the very first one after my life had changed pretty dramatically. I was very close with my grandfather. He passed that July, and my world was a bit upside down at that time. In fact, my mother's an only child, and he asked her to move in with my grandmother, so we moved out of our house and we moved in there, and so everything was just different. That was also the same year I got my NES. That was the reason I got my NES, because I always heard, no, it's too expensive, you have an Intellivision, you don't need it. So that year I got Zelda, and I know my parents went around looking for it because of the great chip shortage of 1988 and Nintendo's practice of not producing enough games. So they actually got that and Super Mario Brothers 2, and of course back then nobody knew Super Mario Brothers 2 was basically a ROM hack of another game.
Was it Doki Doki?
Doki Doki Panic.
Yeah, Doki Doki Panic, yeah.
Yeah, I did a quick video on that.
But why would we, though? Like, we weren't plugged into the world like
we didn't have
today, right? We didn't care that it was already a game that was made in Japan. That didn't, I just thought it was weird when it came out.
DLC, and it was complete.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
So those are the 2 games I got that holiday season, and but my grandmother was the one that gave me Zelda 2. And when I first got the game, I had no idea what the heck to do with it. I mean, I was just walking around. It wasn't until one day we found the candle and actually was able to get into the palace. Oh, wait a second, there's really a game here. You don't just wander aimlessly.
They don't hold your hand, right? They just... You're in the world, and you go.
And you better read that manual, because if you don't, you have absolutely no idea what to do.
Yeah, I miss manuals in games. I really do.
So, the Zelda one comes to mind because I played it far more than the other one, at least over the many years. I have beaten Mario 3 so many times. I used to be able to do it within a few minutes because I knew where the warps were. I could go through it and everything. But Zelda takes time, just the grinding. I finally got my system down. Now, you don't want to leave that first palace until you're up to 6s across the board, because after that, it'll always upgrade you. So, that game being tied to my grandmother, who unfortunately passed away in 2007. So I've just kept that as a memento to her all these years, and I don't really play the cartridge. I mean, I have the thing on the Switch, and I have it on 15 other devices that I can play it on. And it's easier to play it if you have a save state, because you don't have to sit
absolutely.
there. If you die, you don't lose all your experience. Oh, I just saved it right before. So that's why I picked Zelda 2. The third game was one that was extremely scarce when it first came out. I think it came out, 1990? And nobody had it. But my dad, he's always worked 2 jobs up until he retired. And he surprised me with it one day. He went to a toy store not far from his second job at 9 o'clock at night and picked it up on his way home, and I got it as a surprise the next day. And for that reason alone, I've got special memories.
Right? If you got this far, you probably liked the video. Well, how about checking out some of these other ones? And if you like them too, please subscribe. Have a good one.